If you learn anything, and I mean anything from this movie, if you learn any life lesson, just remember this. Never, ever trust Kevin Garnett. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin Movies. As always, I am your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about Adam Sandler once again jumping into the serious movie pool as we talk about Uncut Gems. I will warn you, I will probably be spoiling this movie. I have to talk about the overall tone, which kind of would probably spoil it. So I will say this, it's not a bad movie. I didn't think it was as great as a lot of people did, and I didn't think Sandler's performance was as great as everyone else is thinking. That being said, he still does a really good job in this, and the story itself overall is pretty interesting. So for me, I would recommend it as a rental. This movie is brought to you by the Safdie brothers, who brought you the movie Good Time with Robert Pattinson. If you've seen that movie and liked it, you'll probably like this movie too. What this movie is about is Sandler plays a owner of a jewelry store, and let's just say his life is a mess. He owes a lot of people money. He tries to borrow other money to pay other people back and to make bets, and everything he tries is trying to clean up this mess he is in. Plus, his marriage is in shambles. His wife and him are talking about getting divorced after the new year. He's cheating on his wife with someone he works with, and just everything he's trying to do is basically a mess. You know that this guy's life is not going to end well. And again, if you've seen the movie Good Time, it's just that kind of a tone. You know that, man, if he gets out of this mess, you'll be surprised. It's kind of how you feel. But he's putting all his faith into this gem. He gets this rare gem from overseas that he believes he can sell for $1 million, and he thinks that's going to solve all of his problems. So this gem, though, ends up being an issue when the basketball player Kevin Garnett visits his store, sees the gem, and wants to borrow it. He feels magic powers from this gem. Don't worry, this isn't an unrealistic movie. It's just Kevin Garnett feels the power from this gem, and he wants to borrow it, and ends up having a great game that night, which should have made our main character a lot of money, but there's a lot of story on why that didn't happen. I won't ruin all of that. But so it's this movie. A lot of this movie is about Sandler's character trying to get this gem back so he can take it to auction and sell it. And he's getting the runaround from Kevin Garnett and also a fake watch dealer by the name of Damani, played by Lakeith Stanfield. So yeah, let's talk about things in this movie. One thing I really liked about this movie is the overall tone. I don't mind a movie that I know isn't going to end well for a character. I thought that might bother me, and after thinking, and it did bother me when I saw Good Time, because I don't know, I just wasn't ready for something like that. But the more I think about that movie, the more I'm accepting of how that movie ended. And this one, it's like, okay, I know things aren't going to end well for Sandler's character. Okay, so I accepted that right at the beginning, and I would have been, again, really surprised had they ended better for him. I didn't like how predictable his end was going to be, because you meet a character in this movie, and as soon as you meet this character, you're like, yeah, that's the guy that's going to get him. And sure enough, I would have liked a nice little twist on that maybe the guy that got him wouldn't be that guy. So the predictability bothered me a little bit, but the outcome did not. But yeah, with this movie, it's dark, even though there's times that it feels bright, because when you're following Sandler's character and things are going a little well for him, you feel good, but then you just know that the shoe's going to drop, right? The other shoe's going to drop. You know things aren't going to end up well for this guy, so of course things are going to go bad. Oh, he finally gets the gem back. Well, of course it's not going to sell for as much as he thought it was going to. Of course he had to borrow money and to make up for not selling it for as much. There's so many things that this guy's going to do wrong that's not going to end up well for him. For the most part, the performances in this movie are really good. Lakeith Stanfield's really good. I thought Sandler did a good job. I'll talk about that in a second. Idina Menzel plays his wife Dinah. She was really good in it. Julia Fox plays the mistress, and I liked her as well. Her and Sandler made a weirdly decent cheating couple. I know that sounds weird, but they're both kind of messed up, and they're both kind of made for each other, I guess is the best way to put it. And she definitely puts it, puts her love for him. She let's just say she gets a tattoo. Let's just say she gets a tattoo because she loves him that much, and the tattoo reveal comes at the weirdest time, and it's just kind of funny. But the performances in this are pretty good. I like that this movie felt like it was in the real world because there were real people involved. You had Kevin Garnett, the NBA player, wanting this gem. The Weeknd performs at this club, and it ends up getting in between Sandler and his mistress somewhat. The apartment that they have, they have to go to the apartment, and his kids had not been up to the apartment, but one of the kids needs to use the bathroom, and so they go up there and they try to get other neighbors he doesn't want to let the kid in the apartment, so he's like, let's see if I can get one of these neighbors to let him use the apartment. And one of his neighbors, he goes, yeah, this guy's famous, and it ends up being John Amos. He's like, yeah, this guy was in this show, and sure enough, there's John Amos, and nope, John Amos won't let him use the bathroom. So it was just kind of funny seeing the real people pop up. Just made it kind of feel like it was in the real world. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about is Sandler's performance. His character is supposed to be kind of awkward and stuff, so that part worked for Sandler. But I always like to think a good dramatic performance, to really pull it off with me, you got to be able to cry on camera and make it convincing. And there's a scene where Sandler's character is supposed to be, he's finally had it. He can't take it anymore. And he starts crying, and that's where Sandler kind of lost me, because it was one of the. It was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a fake cry. Now, if he was fake crying, it would have. I would have been fine with it. But his character really had just lost it. Right? He just lost it, and whenever he starts crying, I wanted to laugh. It just wasn't a very good, convincing cry. It was one of those, he's covering his eyes, and he's talking like this, and he's just crying. And it was not convincing at all. He's just got a big smile on his face, and it's supposed to be his sad face, and he's crying. And I didn't buy it. That being said, that's where the tattoo of his girlfriend comes in, and that just kind of breaks up the moment and makes it better, because she's trying to make him feel better, and she's like, look, I got this tattoo, and it makes him feel better. And that actually kind of saved the scene, because his crying was not working. So all in all, I thought it was a really good performance. Is it an award-winning performance? For me, it wasn't. Again, all in all, this movie, I enjoyed this movie. It's not one I'd probably see again, and it's not one I would recommend for the theaters. I know a lot of people disagree with me with that, and that's okay. But I put it up there with like a movie like Good Time, where, yeah, you know how it's going to end, as long as it ends in an interesting way. That being said, and this movie did, again, you kind of see it coming, though, and you kind of see where it's coming from. And that was kind of disappointing. I would have liked a little bit more of a twist. I would have been interested to see his life go the way he needed it to, but even though they kind of teased that it's going to, of course, the story was not going to end well. for Mr. Sandler. And all in all, it's not a bad movie. I enjoyed it. It's probably not one I would watch again, and it's probably one that I would recommend for a rental. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and you have anything to say about Uncut Gems, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Till next time, I'm your host, the Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. See you later.